it's really about, first of all, thinking about how can I create more space in my life. And so you can actually do that energetically. You can energetically create space in your life for a baby to come in.
Welcome back to the PCOS Holistic Coach podcast with me, Dr. Ami Patel, pharmacist, fellow sister, and coach. This podcast is an easy to listen to resource for your busy on-the-go life. You will learn how you can live a healthier and happier life with PCOS from real conversations about managing PCOS and the symptoms with amazing guest speakers. Welcome back, everyone, to the PCOS Holistic Coach community for another live conversation today. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker, Hilery Johnson. Hilery Johnson is a spiritual healer and founder of BringInBaby, an innovative company that shows women how to holistically increase their chances of pregnancy. She works with clients of all genders who are trying to conceive and specializes in clients who want to have a baby without sacrificing their careers, which we'll, I'm sure, definitely touch on as women in our current times. That's very relevant. Hilery brings to her clients more than 15 years of training and experience as an intuitive and as a spiritual midwife, an expert who communicates and works with the spirit of the baby. Her clients have become pregnant after working with her, whether they've undergone multiple unsuccessful rounds of IVF or healing from a miscarriage, or have recently decided that they're ready for a baby. She also teaches tools for communicating better, managing emotions, and honing intuition to new mothers and children. And Hilery's expertise have been featured on Boss Babe's blog, various podcasts, and she lives in Southern California with her teenage son. Welcome, Hilery. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
really, you have a fabulous community. I was just talking to you about that.
Thank you.
I'm really glad to be here.
Yes, thank you. And I'm glad to invite you to the community because many women that listen and participate in my community have an interest in conceiving with PCOS. And unfortunately, they may have been told that, it'll be difficult. Some may have been told that, that it might be impossible, things that they should not tell somebody. But, people have been told that. And there's a lot of misconceptions, fear, worry about conceiving. And so I wanted to get your expertise and perspective on, as a spiritual healer, because with holistic care, it's not just looking at PCOS in terms of diet and exercise. I want to provide everyone, different perspectives and things to think about. So I think this would be it's really important for people if it resonates with them, and they want to learn more about it. We'll dive a little bit into, I think, surface level just to get people exposed to what spiritual healing is.
Sounds great.
What, in your definition, what exactly is spiritual healing and clearing energy?
Spiritual healing is sort of the way I'm thinking about it in terms of what our discussion today is. For women, I feel that it's really important to develop your intuition, to empower yourself, especially for those of us who become moms or make decisions in our own life, to be empowered to make the best decisions for ourselves. And part of that comes from really accessing the extra sense that we all have. So we all smell and we taste and we see and hear and all that. But there's an extra sense that some of us, we sort of all have it when we're born. But there's also a way that you can develop it and recognize it to empower yourself to make even better decisions so you feel more confident in the choices you're making for your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. And I think that's like you said, when we're born, we all have this sixth sense. I think we all have, babies are so innocent, but then as they grow up, society, adults, people put fears onto them, right? Don't do this will happen to you. No, you have to behave like this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And I think all of that kind of drowns out our intuition, right? I mean, from my experience, that's what I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm. Yes, a lot of it is just a lot of the spiritual healing is really just removing any ideas that are somebody else's, removing negative energy, or clearing anything that's not really yourself and your true voice, but it's clearing so that you have the space to be able to hear and clearly connect more clearly with yourself.
I love that. So how did you get into this space? Like, what's your personal story and journey with fertility?
Um, I was a career woman. I was a visual effects artist. I was making creating visual effects for commercials, and so it's a pretty fast-paced job, pretty exciting, and I loved my life. I was really happy. But I knew that I wanted to have a child. So I sort of waited a little bit. And then by the time I was ready to have a child, it just didn't happen right away. I was married and I was trying to have a baby. I really like the idea of calling in your baby instead of trying, but I was, I wanted to have a child. It just wasn't happening. And I had all the quote unquote textbooks or the medical terms about how to do it, about eating right and things like that. But I had always been I had done a lot of spiritual work on my own. I was sort of in the closet about it. It was something I did for myself, just for my personal self development, self care, meditation. And when I wasn't becoming pregnant right away, I added this extra element. And so, using these spiritual tools, I became pregnant. And so, because of my journey and because I did a lot of research to put a lot of different elements together, sort of when you're a detective and you're trying this and that and this and that and this and that, and you sort of put it all together, at the end of the day, I thought, after my son was born, I thought, wow, it would be so cool to share this information with other women who might be in my shoes so they don't have to do all the legwork that I did. And also because being a mom has given me so much joy. And if I can share that joy with somebody else, a lot of times somebody might be ready to become pregnant, but it's just a matter of clearing a little bit of energy and it happens quite easily. So, any way that I can support and empower women to become pregnant, to become awesome, confident moms, to become more empowered, even if they don't want to have children. Um,
Right.
and also empowering their children because moms are examples. Moms and dads, they're examples for their children.
Oh, very true. Very true. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I think I feel like women end up being really passionate about helping others when it's like something they've struggled with, like, with me and PCOS, like this is why I'm here today. And a lot of my other guest speakers have had like similar stories that, they struggled with something, they learned from it, and now they want to help others. So thank you for all that you do. Going off of what you said, clearing space and energy to call in your baby. So what are some practices that can be done for people that are like new to spirituality and don't really understand what that means?
Well, I think it's really easy to be really busy in our lives and caught up with everything and to really have our cup pretty full, if you can imagine your cup. So that was me when I was working, is that I had my job, I was really busy, I had a commute, I had a social life, I had lots of activities, I was married. My cup was full. So if your cup is full, how do you create space for a baby to come in? And it's really easy to kind of blow it off if it doesn't happen right away, or to disregard the fact that you actually can create a baby, at least, or be able to bring a child into your life, no matter what that means is. And so it's really about, first of all, thinking about how can I create more space in my life? And so you can actually do that energetically. You can energetically create space in your life for a baby to come in. And so it could be a baby or it could be something else. But once you start to visualize and imagine that extra space, It gives you a little bit more breathing room to connect with yourself instead of being so caught up with all the other ideas and things that are going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's so interesting. I think like you said, it could be like that for anything, right? Like sometimes when it's like, I guess I don't know the science law, but when you have that space, like something will fill it. So you kind of have to make an active effort to create that space and fill it with what you want. In this case, like
exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then like earlier you mentioned like intuition, and we talked about how like, women, or I guess people in general, sometimes we're not connected to that sixth sense that we have, our intuition. So what are your tips on being able to develop our intuition a little bit more and actually like trusting it and listening to it? Because like from my personal experience, like for the first 32 years of my life, like I just ignored my intuition, and like sometimes I would hear it, but I'd be like, whatever. And then like one time it was just like pretty much like yelling at me and like just smacking me in the face, and it's like, you really have to listen to me this time. And that's actually, since that time, I've been listening to my intuition for the last 1 year, and it's been really amazing. But what are like tips that you can share from your expertise, like how to develop intuition so you don't get to that point where it's like, yelling at you basically?
Well, exactly. I think as women, it's very easy to sort of go with the flow, to want everything to be really copacetic and everybody around us to be happy and just doing the right thing. And we sort of are raised to do certain things. Usually we go to kindergarten, go to school, there's certain things that are expected of us. And so there comes a point where when you're in the throes of life as it's being given to you, it's very easy to turn off the decision making about what should I do, because you're sort of already being told what to do and where to go. But there comes a point when you might want to start making more of your own decisions, but you haven't been flexing that muscle of using your intuition. And so it's just a matter of developing it. And some of the ways to develop it are to, when you have to make a decision or a choice, instead of just making it because you know that somebody else wants that, what restaurant do you want to go to? Well, your partner's favorite restaurant is whatever, your best friend's restaurant. So you say, oh, well, let's go to this one. You're not making the choice. You're giving it over. And there's nothing the matter with that. It's just more of an example of all the times that we don't actually think about what is it that I really want, and how do I want to begin to attract and create that in my life. And as we begin to become more in touch with our own intuition, really it's just our own voice. And so as you start to peel away, oh, really, I wanted to go and, go do this. Is that something my mom would have wanted for me to do? Or is this something that I wanted to do? So then once you start clearing away the different layers of your family or friends, and it could be people that want the best for you. I want her to marry that perfect gentleman, when it's not somebody that really you would be happy with. It's just sort of pulling back the layers so that you can recognize, oh, what's really my voice? What's really my vision? What's really my decision? And then not only recognizing it, but then having the courage to be able to actually voice it, because that's a whole nother level, because you can know something, but you can also not be able to fully voice it. And so then it's also becoming empowered enough to be able to voice it and express it, and then to be able to take the action to do it.
Yeah, so I think first step is like recognizing if what you're thinking or the decision you're making is actually yours or somebody else's that for you. And then the next thing is like asking yourself what you want and then having the courage to act on them. Is that correct? Are you enjoying this episode? Would you love the opportunity to have a conversation with me and other like-minded individuals who are also striving to become empowered about their health? If you said yes, then my free holistic hormone healing support Facebook group is for you. I invite you to improve your health with a sense of community, accountability, and fun. Learn more and join through the link in the description.
Yes, and there are definitely tools that you can use to help you with this. Some people like to listen to music or be creative. I have found that meditation is very powerful. A certain type of meditation, which is a guided meditation, which teaches spiritual tools to connect you with your intuition.
Oh,
So they're very specific tools. Mm-hmm.
I think we were also talking about like getting out in nature can also help you connect with yourself, right? That was
Exactly. Taking a walk, going out in nature, exercising, sunshine, the beach, water is amazing. The beach, anything that resonates with you, where you just find yourself sort of forgetting about everything and feeling more peaceful. Once you can sort of forget about everything, it could be a hobby that you love, that once I'm a sailor, and so whenever I go sailing, I don't think about any problems or issues or decisions I have to make that are going on in my life. I'm sailing, I'm looking at the direction of the wind, I'm on the boat, I'm active. But the answers come to me and the intuition flows. So every person is different. And I know that a lot of people will say that meditation is the way to do it. And it's definitely a way to learn specific tools. But I also believe that everybody is an individual and that you don't have to do much to access your intuition. It can be very small. It could be a tiny little effort that can really make a huge impact on your ability to empower yourself, to connect with yourself, to make the best decisions for yourself.
I think, like you were saying, asking yourself the voices, whose voice is it? Like, I used to be an extremely indecisive person, and I couldn't figure out why I was so indecisive. But then once I started listening to my intuition, I realized I was so indecisive because I would start thinking like, okay, if I make this decision, then this person will think this, or, this person will be happy, or if I make this decision, like this person will be pleased. Or like, I didn't realize there was like other people's voices, and I was like going through all of this in my head. And then like once I started listening to my intuition, I'm not indecisive. I know what I want, and the answers do come to me, like, when I'm out in nature or when I'm working out and I have my music on. It's just so interesting how that happens.
I love that. That's wonderful that you recognize all that.
Yeah, and I think like over time it gets a little bit easier, like since I didn't listen to it for such a long time. I didn't realize like, what it is. And like the more I listen to it, the more I realize like, it's for my best interest, or like listening to my gut, things like that. And more times than not, like when I don't listen to it, I usually regret it. And I'm like, I should have just done what I really wanted to do, or what I knew was right.
Well, it's easy to also slip in and out of it. Sometimes we do make decisions and realize afterwards, oh, wow, why did I do that? That wasn't really what I wanted. Or somebody gave you some advice and you thought, oh, I should follow their advice. They know more than I do. And there's nothing the matter with that, but those are just life experiences. And when you recognize that, then the next time, because I still do that, everybody still does that. But you want to, but by being powered to, I love what you said about how you're more certain when you're in touch with your intuition.
Yeah, I feel more confident in the last like year, because I know I know where the decision is coming from and why I'm making it, and so I can stick to the decision, whatever it may be. Small things, like you said, going out to eat, or bigger like life choices.
Exactly. Life choices are always like a big one.
Exactly. Yep. So one thing that I also want to ask you is, we talked a little bit before this conversation about like female creative energy, which was like a new term to me. So would you mind explaining what that is? And like some people listening may be ready to like in the stage where they want to call in their baby, but some people are still working on like healing their bodies. So can this female creative energy be used for other things as well?
Oh, yes. So the female creative energy that I was speaking with you about is what women use to create a baby, and it's sort of an extra energy that women have that men don't have, because men don't create a physical baby. And so women have this female creative energy, and you have it even when you're not creating the baby. You still have that energy, and it's very, very powerful. And so you can actually learn how to run it and use it. So it is very powerful when you're creating or making a baby or attracting a baby into your life, because it brightens your whole space and it makes you very attractive to babies. But it's also something that you can use when you're not creating a baby. And it's the reason that so many women, after they have a baby, they have so much success in their career and in their life, and they have so much more abundance with ease, even though you would think that they don't have the time or the space for it, but yet they're able to create even more. And so it's a very powerful energy, and all women have it. And you can start to use your creative energy to create things in your life, so you're not using as much of your physical energy and becoming drained.
So it could be like creative, like in terms of like doing anything artistic, or like playing an instrument, doing like projects. Is that what you mean? Or like you can channel?
Yes, it could be any kind of a project. It could be a business. You could be painting a picture. You could be writing a book. You could be singing a song. You could be cooking. You can do anything, and it's really fun because you sort of get in the flow. Like, you've kind of noticed, if you're ever creating and you're in the flow, and you feel a certain level of kind of clarity, or feel better afterwards, or you create something and you're not drained afterwards. When you create something and you're using your physical energy, you're going to be pretty wiped out afterwards. When you use your female creative energy, it's creating energy. So you might be tired, as in just tired because you did something, but it's more energizing and sort of opens your mind. Like, if you've ever done something and then at the end of it, you feel like you're more alert or more aware. It's when that female creative energy is running, and it's clearing your space and it's clearing your mind, and you have more of that feeling of clarity.
It can help you with even other things, right? Like, say that you were having a problem, it's something in life, like logistical things, right? Like, I don't know.
Yes, it can help you with anything. If you're studying for a final exam and you need some extra energy, it's what you can use that. Or if you have yes, exactly.
That's pretty cool. I guess that kind of makes sense, like in terms of like when, people are given advice to like relax or do things they like to do, like de-stress. It's kind of like connecting to that energy. Is that correct? Or like, learning a new instrument. And I keep using the instrument example because I am recently starting. I have started to learn an instrument, and I've noticed that I like really enjoy it, and then I just feel like so good afterwards.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. Yes, it's so important for women to use their creative energy. It's really important. That's amazing.
It helps me to be creative in other things, like, with coming up with content for social media, like all this community and the YouTube channel and podcast and Instagram. Like, I feel like it helps me be creative in that sense too, because I've started playing the instrument. As opposed to before, I felt like it was maybe more like, oh, I have to make something. But now, like, the ideas kind of just come to me.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah.
I told you that. Okay. Okay. It all makes sense. Wow. It's like clicking.
Exactly. That's fabulous. And that's the way it should be. It should be really natural and fun to create and be creative.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation. I mean, I definitely learned a lot in terms of like spirituality, clearing energy, making space for things you like, getting in tune with your intuition. Yeah, and I like how you said, like, we females have this like female creative energy, and I think in society, like, everything is around like what works for men, right? Like the way life is structured. No, seriously, like we have like our periods, and we go through different phases, and we're supposed to live life in the sense that like we should be doing different things at different times in our cycle, like eating or exercising, right? But like everything is just, I don't know. That's how I feel. Like
No, it's yes.
right? Okay, is that why you're laughing? Like you feel that way too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why like when you said that, it's like we have an advantage that we have this thing called like female creative energy, and we should think of it as a positive thing and use it to benefit us instead of like, the cultural conditioning that we have that, having our periods is like bad or like annoying, and like women are weak because we have this thing, and like having babies holds us back in our career, right? Like
Right, exactly.
is there anything else you want to say, like in terms of any of that?
No, I think that's absolutely true. Is that I do believe that women can choose to have a baby and continue their career or not. There's no judgment either way, as long as it's the decision of the mom.
Yeah.
And there's also many ways that a baby can come into a woman's life, through pregnancy or through adoption or surrogacy. There are definitely options. And I think that's really amazing for a lot of women.
No,
Although there are definitely ways to clear the energy to have a baby naturally. But I also feel that, if a woman's not capable of having a baby for some reason, that it's also possible to have other options. But I do support what you say about the views of society and the stereotypes and, oh, the woman can't do it because she has a baby.
right. Yeah, but like you said, you've seen your clients flourish after they've had their babies, and even more so. So, well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us and educating us. What is the best way that our viewers and listeners can connect with you and learn more about you and your resources?
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Hilery, Hilery, at BringInBaby.com is my email address for anyone that wants to contact me. My business is BringInBaby, BringInBaby. It's one word. So you can find me on Instagram. My website is BringInBaby.com. And I also have a phone number, which is 310-266-8407. For anybody that would like to reach out, feel free to text me directly, or that's an option for some people that are on their phone right now and want to reach out. They're welcome to.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think you said you were going to offer something to people listening.
Yes, to the first 10 people that reach out, I'm happy to give a free 10 to 15-minute session. Just choosing one topic. It could be something we spoke about here. It could be something completely different. I'm happy to support you in any way that you desire.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Thank you for offering that, Hilery. So just reach out to her, let her know that you heard our conversation on the PCOS Holistic Coach YouTube channel, podcast, or community, and she will be more than happy to help you. So thank you so much, Hilery, seriously, for being here, educating us. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Me too. Thank you so much.
And for everyone that's listening, just to end the episode, be kind to yourself, be patient, and focus on progress, not perfection. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on the podcast so it can reach other listeners that need support with their PCOS. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to connect with you. Send me a DM on Instagram or TikTok at pcos.holistic.coach. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in.